CollaborateMD, and I'll be hosting today's Getting Started with CollaborateMD and Practice Fusion webinar, along with Tanya, who is another training specialist, and she'll be walking us through how to get started. We hope this webinar series will help all new customers and new users understand the key areas within the software that are essential to getting started with CollaborateMD. If you have not already downloaded CollaborateMD onto your computer, please visit the website address on this screen to download the most current version of CollaborateMD, and that way you can follow along with us today. On today's agenda, we're going to be walking through the steps on how to configure your CollaborateMD account, and this will also include the steps on how to integrate your Practice Fusion interface. Within the GoToWebinar pane, as some of you have already seen, there is a questions box, so please type any questions that you have during today's webinar in that box, and we'll go over them periodically, and then we'll have a brief Q&A session at the end as well. Last, we're going to cover the tools and resources available to you, as well as how you can contact CollaborateMD for assistance if needed. Let's go ahead and get started. We hope everyone is already logged into CollaborateMD and ready to follow along. Now we will be turning this over to Tanya, who will be walking us through getting started with CollaborateMD and Practice Fusion.
All right, great. Thanks so much. So as she said, my name is Tanya, and I'm going to go ahead and walk you through how to get started with setting up your account in CollaborateMD and in Practice Fusion. So the first thing you'll notice when you log into CollaborateMD, you'll notice that you'll be automatically defaulted to the Login tab within the System section. You can see the name of the account you're currently logged into on the left-hand side of your screen. To log into a different customer account, click on the Switch Accounts link. Once the pop-up appears, choose from one of the following options. Selecting to Show All will display a list of all of your current customer accounts. Simply select the customer account you wish to log into. Selecting the Advanced Search option will allow you to search by different criteria such as patient or practice name. If you would like to change your current password, simply click the Change Password link. Once the Change Password window appears, enter in your current password, enter in your new password, re-enter your new password, and click on the Change Password button. Next, we want to draw your attention to the sub-tab here over on the left called Dashboard. Now, the CPI Dashboard is a business management tool that will help you to identify key performance indicators that reflect critical success factors within your business. This includes charts displaying information such as charges not billed, top claim rejections, charges and debits, and payments received within a given period. You can add a new dashboard by clicking the New Dashboard button. A pop-up will appear with different gadgets available along with the descriptions of the gadgets so that you know what it provides. Click on a gadget of your choice and click the Select button to place the gadget on the grid. Now, if you try to place that gadget in an area off of the grid or kind of overlapping another gadget, then you'll notice that it'll turn red. So you want to make sure that your gadget is blue when you're placing it on the grid. If you'd like to add additional gadgets, click on the Add Gadget button and repeat the steps. The next thing you want to do is you want to go ahead and give this a title. So you want to give your dashboard a name. So maybe something like My Dashboard, right? Because it's mine. And then the next thing you'd want to do, if you'd like this dashboard to be your default dashboard, then you can check the box that says, Make this my default dashboard. Once you're satisfied with your options, then you also can go ahead and click on the Save button, and you have the option to either share, save and share with other users, or you can just select the option to save without sharing. And then as you can see, for those dashboards that are existing, you have the option to edit, share at a later time, or delete the dashboard if you no longer need it. All right, So the next thing we're going to go over is the button in the upper right-hand corner called the Advanced Options button. Now, clicking the Advanced Options button will allow you to make miscellaneous changes to the software, which include but are not limited to updating your current version of CollaborateMD, making visual changes to the overall appearance, as well as messaging options. The next tab within the System section is the Defaults tab. Now, this tab is where you will go to configure the individual preferences for your CollaborateMD account. Once you select the Retrieve Defaults button, you will notice that the majority of the defaults are already chosen. However, you can change that at any time. Now, please note, these defaults only apply to your username and the customer that you are currently logged into. If you're a billing service or have multiple customer accounts, you will need to click the Switch Accounts link to go ahead and switch into another account to configure your defaults under each customer account. To view or make modifications to your profile, click the Retrieve Profile button. The User Profile tab allows you to manage personal settings such as name, contact information, security questions, and call-in PIN. This PIN is used to verify your account when contacting CollaborateMD, so please keep your call-in PIN secure and never share your login credentials with any other user. I can't stress how important this is, okay? Now, you will also be able to manage your communication preferences within this tab here as well. All right, so now we'll be going over the admin section. The Account Information tab allows authorized representatives to view and change your CollaborateMD account information, such as your account name, the owner, and the contact information. Authorized representatives can also submit various requests to CollaborateMD through this tab as well. The next tab, the Customers tab, allows authorized representatives and admins to add new customer accounts, as well as add and edit users and reset user passwords. To find a list of your current customers, click the Refresh button. This will display your current open customer accounts as well as the users linked to each customer. Now, before we discuss adding users, our best practice is to create custom user roles first. A role is a user group that shares similar responsibilities within your organization. For example, your front desk users, right? Your providers, billers, payment posters, etc. Not only does creating roles help make sure those specific groups have access to just the areas they need, it also streamlines the amount of time it takes to create new users and assign individual permissions. So to create a role, click on the New Role button. Enter a role name, such as maybe something like front desk user, right? And you'll notice that if I type in a name that the system already recognizes as being a role name, I'll have a red X, and as you can see there, it gives me a little message saying there is already another role with this name. You simply want to alter that name and make it slightly different so that the system does not recognize it already exists, right? So I'll make mine user, and now I've got a green check mark. Green means go. All right. So once you've done that, then you can go ahead and use the scroll bar here on the side to navigate to each section and feature of the application and grant the access level for each permission. If you're not sure what these permissions are, then you can go ahead and click on the blue check mark for a description of the permission and access level. Once you're satisfied with your selections and your options, you can go ahead and click on the Save button in the upper left-hand corner. I'm going to go ahead and click on the Close button. And then to add more roles, you're just going to go ahead and repeat those steps as needed for each role in your organization that will be logging into CollaborateMD. To begin adding a new user, back under the Customers tab, so we're going to come back over here, you're going to select the customer account you wish to default the user under. Now, this will be the customer account the user will automatically be logging into upon logging into the application. When adding users that work for the billing service, the best practice is to add this user to the billing service customer account that would be listed. Once the customer is selected, click on the Add User button located within the user's pane, and then begin entering in your credentials. Please note, CollaborateMD does not accept capital letters within a username. Additionally, if the username already exists in CollaborateMD, you will not be able to use it again. So I'll go ahead and type in something just to give you a quick example, right? So maybe my user's name is Mary Smith, right? All together, no spaces, all in lowercase, alrighty? Now, by default, the user type is set to user, and the user status is set to active, which can be changed at any time as well. The Send a Welcome Message checkbox will send the new user a welcome message upon logging into CollaborateMD, which will provide a list of different resources that can be used to assist with utilizing the application. If you want your user to have access to multiple customer accounts, you can link them through the Groups tab here by checking the box next to each desired customer account you would like them to have access to. The Permissions tab is where you can grant your users access to various sections within the application for each group they're linked to. Now, if you created a predefined role within the Roles tab like we just did, you can select the option to set permissions using a predefined role. This will auto-populate the permissions for that role. Otherwise, you can set custom permissions for the user. And then as you can see, you can click on the access level and change it for each one, right? Customization. All right. So if you wish to copy the permissions that you've just set here below, and you'd like to go ahead and copy them to multiple customer accounts, what you want to do is click on the Copy Permissions to Another Group link. When the dialog window opens, select the groups you wish to copy the permissions to and click the Copy button. And then also, if you wish to specify the days and times the user can log into CollaborateMD, you can click the Hours tab. Now, by default, new users are allowed access all hours and days of the week, right? Every day, all day, anytime. Alrighty, so you want to be sure to take a look at that if you only want them, maybe you only want them to have access Monday through Friday, but not on Sunday and Saturday. And also, if you're setting the start times, let's say someone works, maybe they start at 8 o'clock in the morning, maybe give them the access at 7:45 so that they have a few minutes to log in before their start time, right? So just some little tidbits there, some tips. Now, once you're satisfied with all of your selections, of course, then you would go ahead and click on the Save button. And then once you actually saved it, you'll see a pop-up message that's going to appear, and it'll contain the username that you created as well as a temporary password that you can then pass along to that user. And when they log in, the system will make them go ahead and reset their password. Now, authorized representatives and admins also have access to reset users' passwords by using the Reset Passwords button, as well as unlocking users if they kind of got locked out after trying to log in too many times and failing. If you need to add additional customers or databases, you want to click on the Add Customer button. After reading the pop-up message, click Yes, and then proceed to enter in the customer name in the upper right-hand corner. So right up here, right, whatever that new customer account is. And then from the pop-up window, you'll also be able to grant user access and set permissions for those users that already have been added to the account. Right-clicking capabilities are also available if you wish to apply these actions for multiple users at once. And then once you're satisfied with your selections, you can click on the Save button at the bottom of that window. Once a customer is added, you can manage the user access to each customer account by clicking the User with Access Edit button right here. All right, so the next tab we're going to go over in the admin section is the Invoices tab. Now, invoices are generated on the first business day of the month for the previous month's transactions and can only be viewed by users with the monthly invoices permission. To view your invoices, go to the Monthly Invoices tab and then choose the date range you would like to view. So maybe something like last 12 months, and click on the refresh button to view your charges. And then they would be over on the right-hand side here. Payments can be made through the Payments tab by selecting the Make a Payment button. Payment information can also be saved within the Payment Profiles tab to ease the payment process. All right, so then last tab we're going to go over here within the admin section is the Interfaces tab. Now this tab is where you will activate your Practice Fusion interface within CollaborateMD. So pay attention, really important. So to do that, you want to go ahead and click on the Add button to see a list of the interfaces that we have available, and then you're going to select Practice Fusion from the list. Now please be sure that the status is set to active. The box to allow interfaces to update patient records should also be checked. This means that the interface will update the patient records sent over from Practice Fusion within CollaborateMD. You can click the Help Pages link here to learn more about the Practice Fusion interface. And once you're satisfied with all of your selections, then of course you're going to go ahead and click on the Save button in the upper left-hand corner. I'm going to go ahead and click Close. So if you wish to learn more about the additional tabs located here in the admin section, such as locks, configuration, and services, please reference our training website. Next, we'll go over the practice section. Now, this section contains information regarding the entity submitting the claims. This could be a doctor's office, laboratory, or clinic, to name a few examples. This is the information that will populate in box 33 of the CMS 1500 professional claim form or box 1 of the UB04 institutional claim form. Now, during the setup wizard, the first practice was already entered. Click the Show All button if you'd like to go ahead and open that existing practice and just confirm the information that was entered. If any additional practices need to be entered, you want to click on the New Practice button. Now, all fields that are required in order for you to go ahead and save this practice are denoted by the red asterisk, as you can see here. The NPI Registry button can be used to search for more information on the practice. This button will also be available within the Provider, Referring, and the Facility sections. So you'll notice that button, and you can use those as well. The provider's group NPI number should be entered in the NPI field right here, okay? Again, that's only the group number. If you do not have a group number, you do not need to enter in an NPI in this field, okay? This number will be displayed in box 33A of the professional claim form or box 56 of the institutional claim. We will be reviewing billing with the individual NPI shortly within the provider section. If you have a different pay-to address for your practice, uncheck the box that says pay-to address is the same as the primary address, and as you can see, it opens up and it allows you to then go ahead and enter in that pay-to address. For those billing institutional claims, this is going to populate in box 2. If your practice has any additional locations, you can click on the New Office button and enter in the additional office location information. Now, these offices can be used to change the practice information displayed on the claim as needed. The Defaults tab up here will allow you to default information you would like to automatically populate on any new claim, patient, or when posting payments for this practice. Some examples include defaulting a specific type of bill here for your institutional claims, enabling the real-time claim submission feature down here, and defaulting the assignment of benefits for your patients under this tab here. The Notes tab is a free-form text field that allows users to include any specific information regarding to the practice. Notes can be viewed by all users associated to the account. Now, you will notice this tab in other sections throughout the application, so that's why we're kind of going over it now. As you see them in the other sections, we won't touch on it. All right, so the next thing we want to do is, once you're satisfied, of course, with all of the information you've entered in for your provider, you would then go ahead and click on, for your practice, you would then go ahead and click on the Save button. And I'll just go ahead and click on Close. The next section we're going to go over is the provider. So the provider section here contains information regarding the entity providing the service. This information will populate into box 24J of your professional claim form or box 76 of the institutional claim form. Now, during the setup wizard, the first provider should have already been entered in as well. Okay, so if you'd like to see and take a look at the information that was entered in for that provider, you can click on the Show All button and then just confirm the info that you entered in. If you need to add any additional providers, you can click on the New Provider button. And then just like within the practice section, once you open it, you'll notice that all the required fields in order for you to save this provider in CollaborateMD are denoted by the little red asterisk. Now, the provider's individual NPI number should be entered in the NPI field here, okay? This will populate in box 24J of the professional claim form or box 76 of the institutional claim form. Now, in the taxonomy specialty field, you want to enter in your taxonomy code, or if you're not sure what the code is, you can click on the magnifying glass, and then it'll allow you to search. So if I type in, for example, down here at the bottom, I can type in internal, and as you can see, it finds internal meds for me, and then I can select it, and it populates the taxonomy specialty code in there for me. Pretty easy. Now, the next thing I want to draw your eye to is the area here that says billing information. If you click on the magnifying glass to the right of the practice for this provider, this will allow you to go ahead and search for the practice if you have more than one practice. If you only have one, it'll populate it automatically for you, but this is going to be the practice that the provider is associated to, okay? And once you've added it and saved it, this information cannot be changed. The Bill As dropdown will determine what MPI number should be displayed in box 33A of the professional claim form or box 56 of the institutional claim form for the majority of your payers. Selecting individual will populate the NPI listed here in the provider section. Selecting group will populate the NPI entered in the practice section. Now, if you're not sure how you're set up to bill for your provider, then the thing you want to do is contact your major payer so that you can confirm how you are set up to bill. In the Use Which ID Number dropdown, select if the provider bills with a Social Security number or the EIN number, and then populate the number in the corresponding field. So again, just to clarify, you're selecting one or the other, right? And you're only going to fill in either the social or the EIN number. Now, this number is going to populate into box 25 of the professional claim form or box 5 of your institutional claim form. The Alerts tab up here allows users to create pop-up alert messages to display when the provider is open in any other sections of CollaborateMD. To create an alert, you can click on the Add Alert button, and then the next thing you want to do is you want to go ahead and enter in your alert message. So maybe it's test, test, right? Whatever that message is. And then you also have the ability over to the right to go ahead and specify whether or not you want to add a start date and an end date for this alert, right? So maybe you want this alert to start today, and then maybe it should stop, by the end of the week or maybe the following week, right? And then as soon as that date comes, you won't see the pop-up alert any longer. The other thing you have the ability to do here is you have the ability to go ahead and specify where you would like to see this pop-up alert. So whatever section of CollaborateMD you'd like to see it in. Or if you're like me, you might say, I don't care where I am, I need to see this pop-up alert. I'd like to see it anywhere. Now, if you're not sure what these mean, you can click on this little question mark that I've selected here. And the little question marks, you'll see them throughout CollaborateMD right? They just give you more of a description of what that field or item is and what it does. Alrighty, but if you'd like to see this kind of anywhere you open this provider in CollaborateMD, then you can choose the option for global alert. If you wanted to delete it at a later time, you can also check the box that says delete alert, or once the alert is there, you'll notice that there'll be a little box all the way to the right to allow you to go ahead and delete that alert. So right here. Alrighty, and then of course, once you're satisfied with all of the information you've entered into your provider, you're going to go ahead and click on the Save button in the upper left-hand corner. I'm going to go ahead and click Close. Now, something that's really important is that Practice Fusion will need to know the sequence number for this provider once it's saved. So please be sure to write down the sequence number for this provider, as we're going to need it later on when we get into the part that we need to get into for filling out the integration request in Practice Fusion. So you will need to jot that down. As you can see, if it was the last provider you had open, you can go ahead and write it down. It's clearly visible right here where I'm pointing. Or when you open the provider, you'll be able to locate it directly underneath the taxonomy specialty right here. All right, so the next section we're going to go over is the referring section. Now, this section contains information regarding the provider that referred the patient to a specific or to a specialist or for a specific type of procedure. This information will populate into box 17 of the professional claim form or on the UB04 in box 78. To add a new referring provider, you're going to click on the button that says New Referring Provider. And just like within the provider and the practice section, all fields that are required in order to save this referring provider are denoted by the little red asterisk. And of course, once you're satisfied with the information, you'll click on the Save button in the upper left-hand corner. The next important section that we're going to go over is the facility section. Now, this facility section contains information on sites where medical services are performed for the patient, such as a hospital, a walk-in facility, or a medical practice. This information will populate in box 32 of the professional claim form and will not populate on the institutional claim form. To add a new facility, you guessed it, you're going to click on the New Facility button. And then you'll go ahead and enter in the demographic information for the facility. And again, just note the red asterisks are all of the fields that need to be filled in order to save this facility in CollaborateMD. Now, if you need to populate a CLIA or another number in box 32B of the professional claim form, you want to place that number here in the CLIA ID field. And then, of course, once you're satisfied with all of your entries, you're going to go ahead and click on the Save button in the upper left-hand corner. You'll notice going through the application that your Close button, your Save button, your Search buttons, for the most part, are going to be up in the upper left-hand corner of the screen. Okay, so just kind of, you've got a common theme here. Now, once the facility is added, Practice Fusion will also need to know the sequence number for this facility. So please be sure to write down the facility sequence number because you're going to need it to fill out the integration request in Practice Fusion. And again, it's located here under the taxonomy specialty, or if it pops up in your recently opened box, then you can obtain the number from right here. Alrighty, so now that you have your customer number, your customer entered in, your information, your provider, and your facility added, we can proceed with submitting your integration request within Practice Fusion. Now, please be sure that you have your customer number, your provider, and your facility sequence numbers ready. Now, your customer number can be found in the lower bottom right-hand corner of the application. So right down here, if you're following me, lower right-hand corner. So be sure to jot that down. And then the next thing you want to do is you want to go ahead and log into Practice Fusion. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and give everyone a moment to get logged into Practice Fusion if you're not already there. If you were there, then as you know, I believe Practice Fusion does this thing where they go ahead and they'll kind of time you out after a certain period of time. So you may need that, you need to go ahead and request put your password in again And I think sometimes if it doesn't recognize the computer that you're at, then it will go ahead and send the code to another, it'll send it to like another site. And we'll go ahead and make sure we get logged into Practice Fusion here as well. All right, guys, I'm sorry. It wasn't letting me in. It actually timed us out as well, and it just was not letting me in there. So you should be able to see here on your login screen, what you want to do is you want to be sure to click on the settings link. And then over on the left-hand side there underneath billing, you want to click on the link that says account setup. And when the Choose Your Billing Solution page is displayed, go ahead and select CollaborateMD as your preferred billing solution. And then when the Add Account Information window here is displayed, you want to proceed to enter in your information. So if you have that customer account number handy, go ahead and type it in, right? So you type in that customer account number. The next thing you want to do is you want to select the provider that you would like to go ahead and sync up. And you want to put in that CollaborateMD provider sequence number. Now, if you have additional providers that you need to sync up as well, then you want to go ahead and click on the link that says Add Another Provider, and it will allow you to then select another provider. Alrighty, and you would just continue to do that with all of the providers that you have. The next thing you want to do is you want to select the facility and then enter in that CollaborateMD facility sequence number. And if you have additional facilities, you're going to click on the link that says Add Another Facility. You select the other facility and add in that sequence number there. Alrighty, and you continue to do that. Now, it's really important to note to make sure that when you're adding this information in, you want to make sure you're adding in the CollaborateMD facility sequence number and not the practice sequence number. And I can't stress this enough. A lot of people have made the mistake and they add in the practice sequence number from CollaborateMD. You want to make sure it's the facility sequence number. Otherwise, what will happen is when you send over your super bills, when everything's up and running and set up, then your facility is not going to populate on your claims in CollaborateMD because it's not synced properly, okay? Once you're done with everything, then you would go ahead and click on Submit. And what will happen is you'll notice that you'll get a message on your screen that says they received your request. And then the other thing to note is that you'll receive an email from Practice Fusion confirming that they received your request. And it can take them up to between 5 to 7 days to go ahead and process that integration request. That's their disclaimer. It doesn't mean it's going to take a whole 7 days, but it can, okay? It can take about 5 to 7 days. Now, Practice Fusion will notify you via a second email when your account has been successfully integrated. Now, if additional providers or facilities are added within CollaborateMD and Practice Fusion at a later time, you will need to submit a new integration request with Practice Fusion, okay? So just keep that in mind. If after you're integrated, you need to add in more providers, make sure they're added into both systems. If you need to add in more facilities, make sure that they are added into both systems, and then you'll need to come in here and complete these steps again and fill out the integration request. Now, while Practice Fusion is processing your integration request, it is important that you begin to start adding and synchronizing your payer lists within both systems. This means the payer names and the addresses must be an exact match within both systems. Failing to do so will cause the superbill to error. Now, if your payer list already exists within Practice Fusion, you will need to add those same payers and addresses within CollaborateMD. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and give everyone a moment to go ahead and switch back to CollaborateMD, and we will also do the same. All right, so you should be over in CollaborateMD now. If you have a dual screen, then you didn't need any time at all. All right, so we're going to go into the payer section here. Now, this tab is where the payer section allows users to add and modify a list of insurance payers that will be used when submitting claims. So to add a new electronic payer, you want to click on the New Payer button. And then you want to click on the magnifying glass displayed beside the electronic link field. Within the master payer search window, you will have the option to search by the payer name, the envoy number, or the CPID number. Now, when searching by the payer name, we recommend searching keywords such as Florida or blue, since the payer name can be worded differently within the master list. So I'm going to go ahead and type in Florida, because guess what? I'm in Florida. Alrighty, now the best practice is to search using the envoy number field here. This is where you can add the payer's electronic payer ID number. The payer ID number can usually be found on the patient's insurance card, sometimes on the back, or by calling the payer directly. We recommend using this option when searching for your payers just to ensure the correct payer is selected. Now, the CPID is the clearinghouse payer ID number, and it's used by the clearinghouse to identify whether or not this payer has a paper connection or an electronic connection. Now, once you've entered in your search criteria, you're going to go ahead and click on the search button. And the master payer selection window is going to display a list of your payer names, the professional CPID number, the institutional CPID number, and the envoy number. Now, if you bill only professional claims, then you should be paying attention to this column only. You don't care about the institutional CPID column. If you bill institutional claims, you care about only the institutional CPID column. You do not care about the professional CPID column. Alrighty, now please note, any CPID that has a 3 in the second digit represents a payer that has a paper connection. Now, this means that claims will be printed and mailed to the payer instead of being submitted electronically. Once you've identified your electronic payer, you're going to go ahead and select it from the list. I'm going to go ahead and select Florida Medicare. And then if that payer requires an agreement to be submitted before you can submit electronic claims through our clearinghouse, you're going to see a pop-up message that says exactly that. Okay, you want to read the message, and then you want to click on the I understand button. When the clearinghouse information pane appears over on the right-hand side here, you'll notice that the green check marks indicate what electronic services the payer offers through the clearinghouse. Under each check mark, it will indicate if an agreement is required in order to use that service, as you can see here. Now, Medicare is Medicare, so of course, they require an agreement for everything under the sun. The red X that you see here, this basically indicates that the payer does not participate with that particular service via our clearinghouse. Now, click on the payer name located in the first field up top here, and what you want to do is you want to retype the payer name to match the Practice Fusion payer. Now, please note, CollaborateMD does not support special characters such as slashes or parentheses. So, for example, let's say, for example, that in Practice Fusion, it says Medicare Part B, right? And the Part B is in parentheses. I think some of you have noticed something like that in their payer list. What you want to do is you want to go ahead and take out the Florida. You're going to type in exactly what you see in Practice Fusion, Medicare Part B, right? without the parentheses because our system doesn't allow for it. But as long as the name is the same, okay? The other thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to make sure that you enter in the address information within the contact information fields here. Now remember, the names and the addresses need to be an exact match, so you're going to go ahead and type in the exact payer address in here. Copy and paste works great. So if you want to copy the address and paste it, you certainly can. Alrighty. Now clicking on the default billing status right up here is going to go ahead and allow you to select certain statuses such as send to insurance, send to the payer via clearinghouse, or user print and mail to the payer if you're going to be printing and mailing your own claims. Now, please note, if you choose to print and mail the claims to the payer, CollaborateMD does not supply the claim forms, okay? So you will have to make sure you have your own claim forms if you're going to be printing and mailing out your own claims. Now, the server processing mode here will allow you to select options such as the clearinghouse will send the claims electronically, or do not send claims to the clearinghouse for processing. If you need to bill a specific payer with a different bill mode than what is defaulted within the provider section, the provider ID numbers tab will allow you to edit the bill mode for that specific payer. So, for example, if you bill under your individual MPI number for the majority of your payers, then in the provider section, you should have selected your bill as dropdown, and you should have selected individual for that. However, if for Medicare, they require you to bill with your group NPI number instead, then for that specific payer, you can come in under this tab and you can select group for the bill mode. And you would do that for each provider for that group if you're billing as a group. Alrighty. Now, this tab will also provide you the option to populate the shaded fields within box 24J under the individual column here, or the shaded field within box 33B under the group column here for your professional claim form, just depending on what your payer requirements are. The Options tab will allow users to set general, professional, and institutional claim options specific to the payer. For example, automatically setting claim follow-up dates here, excluding patient payments from box 29 here, or printing referring physicians in box 76 down here. Now, once you're satisfied with all of your selections and your options, you can click on the Save button in the upper left-hand corner. Now, in order for CollaborateMD to create the claims for self-pay, also known as cash pay patients, you will need to manually create a self-pay payer in both CollaborateMD and in Practice Fusion. The application will not create the claims for self-pay patients if you submit super bills from Practice Fusion without a payer. To add a self-pay payer, you're going to click on the New Payer button. You're going to enter in the name you wish to use to identify that self-pay payer in the system. So maybe like self-pay, right? Pretty obvious, provided that you can spell, right? There we go. Sometimes my fingers get away from me. I did pretty good this time though. Alrighty. And then clicking the default billing status drop down here, you can then go ahead and select the option for due patient. This will set the claim status for the payers to show that the balance will be due by the patient, right? Because you don't want it to be due by the insurance because there is no insurance. And if you click the server processing mode drop down, then you want to select the option for do not send claims to the clearinghouse for processing. Now, this will prevent the system from trying to send the claims out to the clearinghouse. Now, we recommend adding your practice address in the contact information fields here just because they're required fields. So you can just add in your practice information in there just as a placeholder. And then you can go ahead and save it once you're satisfied with your selections and your changes and your options. Now, we'll go ahead and click close here. Now, once your payers are added, you can begin filling out your required payer agreements within the Agreements tab. For a full walkthrough on completing payer agreements under the Registration tab, as well as checking the status of your submitted agreements under the Lookup tab, please reference the Payer Agreements webinar located on our training website. If your payer list already exists within CollaborateMD, but does not exist in Practice Fusion, you will need to go add those same payers and addresses within Practice Fusion's payer list. To do so, what you're going to do is you're going to go back to Practice Fusion and you're going to go log into that account. So we'll go ahead and do that now. Once you're back on Practice Fusion, what you want to do is go up to the settings link again. You're going to click that, and then over on the left-hand side underneath billing, you're going to click on the link that says payer list. Now, to minimize users creating multiple payer instances within Practice Fusion, check the restrict patients to this list box. Now, what this is going to do is this will ensure the payers within the new patient charts are the payers that are synchronized with CollaborateMD. So when you type in a patient insurance in their patient chart, it's going to search this list and not Practice Fusion's master list. So to add a new payer, we're going to go ahead and click on the Add Payer button. And then to ensure the payer names match, go ahead and click the Payer Not in List link above the payer name field, and then you can enter in the payer name, right? To ensure accuracy, we recommend copying and pasting the name. And then you can click on the Add button. Now, please note, fields with red asterisks are required in order to save the new payer in Practice Fusion. And these fields include the plan name and the plan type. To add the plan name, click on Plan Not in List on that link right there. And then you're going to enter in the plan name. So maybe in the situation of Medicare, right, it'd be Part B would be the plan. And then you can go ahead and click on the Add button. The next thing you want to do is select the plan type from the drop-down menu. And then the next thing you want to do is be sure to enter in or copy and paste, right, the payer address that you currently have in CollaborateMD, and you can paste it in here or just type it in, okay? And once you're satisfied, of course, with everything that you've added in, you can click on the Save button. One other thing to note is if you've never kind of come in here and seen this, if you want to add in the phone number for the payer, you can click the link here at the bottom that says Add Claims and Attorney Information, and it kind of expands it a bit, and then you can see the claim phone number right here. So it says Claims Phone Number, and you can put in the payer's phone number there, right? I recommend like EDI department or something. Alrighty, and then of course, once you fill in the rest, if there's anything else you want to fill in, you can go ahead and click on Save. The key thing though, ladies and gentlemen, is that in order to go ahead and make sure the integration is working properly, the names and addresses need to be an exact match. So next we're going to go ahead and go over how to add your codes in CollaborateMD. So give everybody a quick sec to get back to CollaborateMD. Alrighty, and we're going to go into the code section. Now the code section allows you to set up and access the codes that you'll be using to bill. This section consists of about 8 main tabs, and now we're only going to go ahead and cover tabs which affect setup within your customer account. Now the Billing and Procedure tab will allow you to create your personal CPT and HCPCS codes list. You will also be able to set defaults within here as well. Our Master CPT and HCPCS lists contain all of the current American Medical Association, or AMA, codes. Only users that have the CPT license are able to add codes from the CPT code master list. The CPT license costs $99 per user. However, each new account is granted 1 free license for that, that calendar year. Now, additional licenses can be purchased within the admin section. And then please note, adding codes from the master list will make the codes available to all users within your account that have the appropriate permissions. So to go ahead and add your CPT codes and create your own personal list, you're going to click on the button that says Add from CPT List. When the little master payer, master CPT selection window opens, you have several different ways that you can search. You can either search by selecting a range to display, so maybe like the 9s, right, all the 999 codes. You can also search using a key, just a specific code or a keyword. Once you have your information in there, whichever method you want to use, you're going to click Search. And I'll go ahead and click that. And as you can see, it'll display all of the codes. If you want them all, you can click on the selected column and it will go ahead and select them all, or you can just select the specific codes that you'd like to enter in. And then once you're done, you'd click on the add button. We're going to go ahead and click on cancel. If you bill using HCPC codes, you're going to select the add from HCPC list button. Same rules apply. So maybe you want to search for all of the G codes because you need to add some G codes or some J codes, right, for your injection codes. Same rule applies. You'll search, select the ones you want, and then click add, and it will add it to your list. Now, if you click on the new CPT/HCPC buttons, this will allow you to manually enter in a CPT or HCPC code. And we recommend using this button only if you're going to be adding in like a custom code or a duplicate code. To find a code that you've already entered in, you can click on the Show All button, or you can click in the field that says Search, and you can type in the code. So I'll go ahead and type in 99213 and select it. And you'll notice that there's a Defaults tab right down here. Now, you can also go ahead and default certain options in here. And one of the things you can default, for example, you can default your prices, you can default modifiers, situational modifiers. You can also default revenue codes and even drug codes. Once you're satisfied with all of your selections, then of course you would click on the Save button. Now, the next tab we're going to go over in the code section is the Diagnosis tab. And same rule applies, ladies and gentlemen. You're going to click on the Add from Master List button, right? Keyword when you're adding is the list button, whatever says list. And you're going to go ahead and search and add those codes the same way you did within the Billing and Procedure Code tab. The next tab we're going to go over is the Institutional tab. For those of you billing institutional claims, you have the option here to add in your ICD procedure codes by clicking on the Add from Master List button, or adding in your revenue codes by clicking on the Add from Master List button here, okay? And the very last tab we're going to go over is the Fee Schedule tab, and this is going to allow you to go ahead and create a new fee schedule if you'd like by clicking on the New Fee Schedule button, and you have the option to select either create a new fee schedule blank, or you have the option to set prices based on the Medicare fee schedule. If you select that option, then it gives you the option to select a fee schedule year, enter in your zip code for the locality, and you can go ahead and adjust your pricing by whatever percentage you'd like. I'm going to create an empty fee schedule and click on the Show Preview button. And then the next thing you'll be able to do here is go ahead and type in the name up top. So for example, if this fee schedule was for my self-pay, I can go ahead and type in self-pay, right, because maybe we charge them something else. And then down at the bottom, I have the option to configure this for specific payers, right, if I had a self-pay payer or payer type or whatever I wanted to use, okay? And then the fee schedule tab right next to it will allow me to then go ahead and add in all of my prices for this particular fee schedule. And then once I'm satisfied, I would click on the Save button. Now, you will not need to add patients within CollaborateMD since they will be sent over from Practice Fusion once you begin sending over your super bills. Please reference the training website if you wish to learn more about the patient section. In the event a patient record needs to be updated, you want to ensure that you're updating it in Practice Fusion as they're considered the master for the patient demographics. Whatever's listed within Practice Fusion will be sent back over to CollaborateMD once the super bill is submitted. All right, so now that we've provided you an overview of setting up your customer account and your integration with Practice Fusion, I'm going to go ahead and turn this back over to Ms. Tasha, our host, and she'll go over the tools and resources that are available to you.
Great, thank you so much, Tanya. That was quite an in-depth review there of getting started with CollaborateMD and Practice Fusion. Now, even though this was a little fast-paced, you can always reference our training website, and it's available to all users. This website will provide step-by-step instructions for everything we've covered today and more. 2 ways to access this website. The first one is actually within CollaborateMD. When you hover your mouse over the tools icon, The first option to select there is the training icon. Another option is to go directly to the website by visiting training.collaboratemd.com. Two things I want to point out on this website. First, the help pages. These are going to provide you those step-by-step instructions for all areas within the application. And we also have the webinars link, where you can find a list of upcoming webinars that you can register for, and you can also access our pre-recorded webinars. For existing users not currently in training, you also have access to our self-service portal, again found underneath the tools icon within CollaborateMD. This self-service portal allows our CMD members to search for knowledge-based solutions and resolve their own inquiries without contacting support. So next we're going to go over some of the questions that got sent in throughout the webinar and just some things that we want to cover and make sure that you guys are aware of. If you have any remaining questions for today, please go ahead and enter those into the questions box within the GoToWebinar pane. If we don't get to your question within this webinar, don't worry, we will definitely follow up with you. Oh, here's a question. That was a really good one, actually. So this question was, is there a fee to upgrade CollaborateMD to the newest version? No, we do not charge for upgrades or updates. So all new CollaborateMD versions are available to all users at zero cost. Here's one coming in now. Oh, this is a great question. How do I know what NPI I bill with and should use on my agreement? Now, as we mentioned earlier, if you're not sure what you bill with, definitely go ahead and reach out to your major payer, because they're who are going to be able to tell you who or how you're registered. And then whatever they tell you, so if you're billing as an individual, go ahead and use your individual NPI and information to complete that agreement. Whereas if you're registered as a group, you'll use the group information to register that agreement. Wait here another minute, see, it looks like someone's typing. Oh, actually another agreements related question. Do I send my agreements to the payer? I'm really glad you asked this. No, you actually do not send your agreements to the payer. You send them to the clearinghouse. Now, as you go along and finish those agreements, it will tell you if it's going to be submitted electronically, in which case you have no action, or if you need to fax or mail it to the clearinghouse. On that very first cover sheet where it tells you whether to fax or mail, you will find either the fax number or the mailing address for the clearinghouse.
Yeah, and also another thing to note, remember, if you want an in-depth walkthrough, we didn't really go into the agreements and how to fill it out. On our training website, if you go to webinars and click on pre-recorded webinars, there is a link there for a webinar on agreements under payer, okay, and it will walk you through completely. All right, so for sake of time, we're going to go ahead and continue to wrap this up. Thanks so much, guys, for your questions, and Ms. Tasha, take it away.
All right. Last thing, if you do have any remaining questions or any concerns, please do feel free to contact us. You can contact the phone number here at 888-348-8457. If you're not currently in training, dial option 2 for the support department. If you are in training, dial option 4 to dial into the training department. All right. If you have any last questions, go ahead and get those in. Again, we'll follow up with you individually. And thank you all again for joining us today. This concludes our overview. And
thank you so much.
Bye now.